Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Yes, y'all are the members of a We'll Fix It channel. This makes us a team. So that's why I say We'll Fix It team. So, anyway, so you got your Dodge Journey and your heat's not putting out properly. And you've checked to make sure that your heater hoses are open and everything is clear. And you're like, what the heck's going on? And we're going to find out this together. What we're going to do is replace the water pump because, well, I got to take this off and check. Something's not working. What this thing does is the temperature needle will fluctuate. It doesn't stay steady like it's getting hot. Well, not really hot, but older tractors and older things back in the day didn't have water pumps on them. What I mean by that is like with a sealed system where pressure can build up, the heat will rise, pushing the coolant down and circulating it via, they call it convection cooling, I guess is what you'll call that, because the heat builds up pressure at the top because heat rises and then pushes down as the coolant circulates. And well, when I let this thing run, never did get like hot, but all of a sudden it started bubbling the coolant out of the overflow jug. And even though I see the little hose I'll show you, hose here that's spitting out coolant, you would be surprised what a water pump can do with just the metal impeller shaft without the impeller hook to it, just from it turning what it does. It would really surprise you. So please excuse my fuzzy camera; it's dirty. So I suspect there's a possible water pump issue, and I will flip the camera back around. And what I'm thinking is the plastic impeller has separated off of the impeller shaft. And this happens suddenly, by the way. You'll be driving along and you might have heat and all of a sudden it just quit. And it sounds like the heater doors are operating properly when I go between hot and cold, because you have electric servos that operate that, and there's two sides to this. It's got a hot, you can split, and both sides are cold. Got a little bit of rear heat. That's strange, but not as hot as you would think it normally would be. So what I'm going to do is we're going to run and we're doing the water pump. Here we go. Let me flip the camera back around and show you a few things we're going to have to do to get this thing out. And just FYI, it's the pulley for it's up underneath this hose. That big hose you see right there, I've got to take it off because there's some bolts that hold it on. As you can see, there's one 10 millimeter bolt there. It's going to come down and out the bottom, I do believe. So I think it's going to be in my best interest at either way to pull this jug out of the way, get access to the bolts that hold the engine mount, that plate right there for the top of the engine. We're going to remove it. That way I can move the engine up and down, because I'm going to have to take the thermostat off with the housing and just pull that up and out of the way. Of course we'll replace that. By the way, that little piece on top of the thermostat that looks like a cross, you can loosen that, and that's a bleeder point. So when you're filling this thing up with coolant, you want to break that loose so that you get air pocket out of the system. Let's take a look underneath of what's going on here. And we'll do it. I'll cut this video kind of short just so you'll have an idea of what we're doing. I'm gonna make this a real long video in case you're just wanting to know how to do this. And there'll be a longer version of this that you can watch me do this. But as you can see, this lower hose and this other little hose here, that's a smaller 5/8 hose, goes to this little housing, which is all made into the water pump. That pulley is mounted to the water pump, so it doesn't come off. But you've got a series of bolts around there. And by having that engine mounting bolt, that plate thing at the top that I took loose, I can also let the engine down a little bit. It'll drop down. Now, if you'll notice, there is an engine mount right here. Oh, boy, the camera is dirty. There's an engine mount right there, and you can see it's kind of cracked and broken. And if I find the problem with the water pump, I'll address that. We'll worry about that in a little bit. But what we'll do is I'll just pull the bolts out of that. I'll take this bolt here and that bolt here, and then that'll allow the motor to come up a little bit higher without tugging on all that. And then that'll help me out the top. And then probably loosen that so that it'll come down some. Typically, there's another engine mount at the back, way at the back up in there. But it's far enough back out of the way that I can still tilt the engine up. I'm just looking to make sure I don't see anything along the front on the sides here, but I don't. So the water pump will definitely come out of the bottom. Just a series of getting these bolts out. We're going to get these hoses off. I'm not even going to use the drain on the radiator because there's no need to. I'm just going to take the hoses loose, let it dump into my container right here. And just by moving the engine up and down with the floor jack and a block of wood will give me access to that. So that's how you'll do this water pump, and maybe that'll help you diagnose this. Now, I'll cut the video. When I get this off, we're going to look and see if that's what the problem is.